Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's me, your old pal Orpheus, here on another edition of Orpheus Plays, and we're playing Blade in Sorcery as I look out onto this endless frozen tundra and do my pull-ups. Apparently we're in, Antarctica or something here? Because there is nothing. There's a little, what looks like an island over there, but it looks like we're just in the middle of some sort of weird tundra. But we are here in the bombed out church again today. All these nice flying buttresses that have gone to disrepair. And yes, I said flying buttresses. Your old pal Orpheus here has a little bit of appreciation for some architectural things, especially back in this sort of time period. I have an affinity for things that are medieval and dark and, stormy and murderous, and that's of course why you watch, because I'm here doing the murder thing. All right, so, whoa, aha, you missed. No, you didn't. Ow. So yeah, I hope you are doing well wherever you are right now today, whether it's day or night, and you're watching, somewhere, you're kind of cruising along on a hot air balloon through the lovely deserts of Florida, and you're all those Florida deserts, right? They're in between the wildlife or the wetlands, right? The swamps. Anyway, so you're in a hot air balloon watching me on your phone right now with a fabulous 4G signal that's not being obstructed by. Anyway, hi, how you doing? I'm your old buddy Orpheus, and we're here again. We're doing we're doing a one-on-one because I wanted to talk about something today, and I don't really want to get too interrupted. I'm going to let them come to me unless they get stuck somewhere. So we're doing the Bandits Melee only. It is so awesome that they decided not to add a description in, so I will add one for you. 1v1 melee only means that there will be a series of people that come out one at a time, and they'll be trying to kill me, but they will be completely unsuccessful because I have God mode on, and that's so I can keep going with the storytelling and all the fun. Now, I have discovered that apparently my content is known as story time, because I tell stories about my life and things like that. And it also seems that a lot of my more philosophical story time discussions are here in the church. And I don't know, maybe that's a subconscious thing. I don't know. We'll see. But we do have a sort of philosophical discussion. I only have a skinning knife. Okay, well, we'll do a skinning knife challenge for a little bit. But I do have sort of a philosophical thing that I want to talk about today. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. This is something I think is going to be really relatable to a lot of people. And let's do our first slow motion kill of the day. Throw it at you. Ooh, give you a little scar across the cheek, and slap, and backhand. And you're still alive. Let me get my skinning knife. Still slow motion. Hey. But wow. Some weirdness going on there. Ha! Take that. And, there's our drama queen of the day. Making it so she just, no. I'm feeling weak. But yeah, it's a little philosophical, but it's something that I think is very relatable. It's something that we all experience at one time or another in our lives. So let's start on that. Everyone has fears. Everyone has apprehension about things. Now, you present yourself in everyday life, around people especially, that is probably, at least a confident version of yourself, but I think it's sort of, in the concept of psychology, there's 3 stages of who you are, right? And they're the id, the ego, and the superego. All right, so the id is your inner self, but it's like the lizard brain. It's the thing that loves to eat food and call people bad names and Tourette's out and just swear, and it's the part of you that likes it's the part of you that likes it's the baby part of you that just, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm pent up, I'm upset, me. It's all about you. The id is the part of you that is like the atom inside of a molecule, right? What'd you do with my knife, bro? My knife is gone. Oh no, so we use sword. Okay. But the id is the part of you that is like this screaming inside person that always is so selfish and wants... Wow. Okay, well, that took care of that for me. Thank you, Mr. Chandelier. I'm very grateful. You're welcome, Morpheus. Anyway, so the id is the part of you that is like the raw, unfiltered you, right? And then you've got the ego. The ego is the raw, unfiltered you, but it's the part that kind of has a little bit of a shell over it, right? It's the part that is your subconscious a little bit. It's not the buried part in your brain. It's the part that kind of is a barrier between your subconscious and like the id and the part that interacts with the world. Now, the part that interacts with the world is the superego. And as the name might suggest, it is the part of you that you present, you choose to present to the world. All right. So in that sense, the part of you that everyone sees most of the time is your superego. And it's not like it's a bad thing. It is just like, let's say you have a certain fashion sense and you do it because of some reason. You feel like that's who you are, okay? Whether you dress a certain way or you identify as a certain kind of person, there is a certain amount of your superego that is kind of the face that you paint on in order to face your day. All right. And the problem that a lot of people have is discovering that relationship between the three. And, it's like this hidden engine going on. Most people don't understand that it is actually taking place. But there's a very complex dance between those three sections of your consciousness. All right? Well, what happens is you put on this face which may not be who you are. And a lot of you are going, well, of course, right? Well, this is a concept that can be foreign to a lot of people. They just think that that's the way that they are out in life. They're a confident person who does things, and they never question anything, and they're always feeling good. And I know you've seen people like this, right? They're always positive and confident, and they're always like, they look like they're on point, and they're dressed nice. They got their hair done perfectly, and they got everything like it looks like they're taken care of. They got a brand new Tesla in the driveway, and they got a big house and everything. Maybe they're a YouTube personality or a celebrity, someone that you know. That superego, that double shell that's on top of everything that they present to the world, is amazing, and they see themselves as these amazing people because they get validated all over the place by everybody. And then there's normal people like us, which we might have that sort of idea, that confidence as we go out into the world, but it's not necessarily this carefully crafted thing, right? A lot of us are very confused. A lot of us don't know who we are. And even if we do know a little bit, we still feel sort of self-conscious going out in the world, don't we? Yeah. So the problem is that you don't feel normal a lot of the times. But during the day, you can put that off, right? You can distract yourself with things like, playing Blade and Sorcery, or being on your computer playing a MMO like World of Warcraft or like Elder Scrolls or something like that, okay? Well, that lets you distract yourself. And being a celebrity also lets you distract yourself. You just have more distractions and assistants to tell you about those distractions, and assistants for those assistants that tells them what distractions to take to you, and it can be overwhelming at times. But what it does is it gives you sort of a mental break from the id and the ego. Those parts of you that have primal fears, those parts of you that are screaming that I want a big fat greasy cheeseburger, and I want to sit there in my underwear and scratch my nuts while I'm watching, terrible kung fu movies. It's the part of you that is all guilty pleasure, and you put that off in order to go out into the world. Well, everyone has that sort of interaction going on. But I bet you didn't necessarily think about, everyone also has the following thing happen. One of the worst times for anybody can be a time, literally, of the day. That time, and this is referenced by a couple other people, including Les Stroud, Survivor Man, right? He says you can survive, you can get through the night most of the time, but the worst period of your night is going to be about 3 a.m. Everything's still, everything's quiet. But the thing is, you have calmed down to the point where your brain starts to talk to you. That conscience starts to talk, right? It starts to mull over the things that you did that day or that week or in your life. 3 a.m. is that time when everything is still. Everyone is asleep. Everyone is sitting there, and most people are probably asleep like that. But people like me, and probably someone like you, and everybody else that's out there, at one point or another, has to face 3 a.m. And she just got wrecked by this thing. But everyone has to face 3 a.m. Because that's the time that you are the most alone that you'll ever be. My dad had a phrase called "in the quiet of your tent." And this reflects the concept behind why 3 a.m. can be so difficult. What kind of a person are you? In your own estimation, what kind of a person are you? Are you a good person? Are you a bad person? Do you feel guilt and shame? Do you feel out of place? Do you feel like you don't fit in anywhere? Do you feel like you're awkward and weird? Maybe ugly, right? Well, you can put all that off during the day by putting on a smile, by giving yourself the opportunity to interact with your world. But at 3 a.m., you're there, you're with your own thoughts. And that kind of person that you really are comes out. It comes out to play. It comes out to talk to you. It comes out to taunt you. It comes out to taunt you. It comes out to give you this sense of feeling lost and feeling out of place. And even if you're laying next to someone in bed, or you're in a dorm, or you have a bunch of your roommates that are in the same house, or you're married and you've got your spouse next to you. 3 a.m. is that time that you are truly alone by yourself. And unless you wake someone up, which, again, that's the time of night when you're the most alone, not only physically, right, but emotionally, spiritually. Excuse me. You are completely by yourself and your own thoughts. And what can be so scary about that is your thoughts can be incredibly dark at times. You think of things that are sometimes terrible, right? You think about harming people. You think about maybe harming yourself. But the thing that you got to realize is that person that you are at 3 a.m. is part of that primal you, that id, that ego. Those parts of you that normally are suppressed, that are pushed down a little further by the outer shell, again, of the superego, the person that you present to the world. And it's the person that you kind of fool yourself into being during the day. But at 3 a.m., your id and your ego are the overpowering parts of you. And it starts to answer that question for you. Who are you when you're by yourself? When you are not interacting with anything or anybody in the world except your own heartbeat, your own breathing, your own thoughts. I think it's fun how I'm saying something deep and I just right? But that's why you guys are here. It's this wonderful dichotomy between the two. Anyway, but 3 a.m. is when you're alone with those thoughts. You're alone with who your brain tells you are. Okay? The thing to remember, though, your id and your ego are these lizard parts of your brain. The id is like the deep core of your brain that evolved first. And the reason that it evolved first, and the reason that it's basically the inner brain that any living organism that has a brain has going on, is because it is your basic survival instinct. It's your food, water, shelter, mate, right? Pass on your genetic material, protect yourself, protect your family. But it's more like primal, right? Because you're just like, the id is the part of you that will rip and tear and slash and do anything possible in order to get what you want. And then the ego says, no, hold on, wait a minute. That's probably not right. And then the superego says, that's definitely not right. I am a social justice warrior, and I say that's bad, right? But at 3 a.m., all those outer shells get stripped away. It's just you with those dark thoughts. But you have to remember, that's not the... Ooh, wow. That's not the part of you that is dominant. That's not the part of you that is presented to the world. It's in there, right? It is inside of you right now. It's that part of you that wants to see true crime, and it wants to see car wrecks, and it wants to feel that little bit of fear. Because it reminds you that you have way more things than whoever it is getting wrecked in that video. And whether you realize it or not, when you watch something like true crime or cops or, those prison documentaries, Locked Up or whatever, you're kind of reminding yourself that you don't have to live like that, right? That you have a life that's going on. But 3 a.m. is that time that even if you have YouTube or something going, even if you have music playing in the background, even if you have a nice greasy cheeseburger and someone you can wake up to make love to, right? You still don't feel like it. Because at 3 a.m., that's that primal self that's coming out. And it's that part of you that drives you to do nasty things sometimes. Because it slips out once in a while, right? And 3 a.m. is that time where you have to think about that. And that can really suck. Because, like I said, your thoughts can get incredibly dark. My thoughts get incredibly dark at times. But the thing is, those aren't necessarily the normal you thoughts. That's not who you are. That's you at 3 a.m. That's the person who comes out when you're feeling the most vulnerable, when you're feeling the most alone, when you're feeling the most terrified, that part of you, that inner self, that part of you that just wants to rip and shred and tear and tell people off and be a complete dickwad. Maybe you're not that person, but 3 a.m. tells you that you are. Maybe you are that kind of a person, but 3 a.m. lets you realize that you are that person and that's who you are too, right? So 3 a.m. is the toughest time for most people to deal with, including me, right? And I'm someone that has a delayed sleep schedule, but there's just something about it. When you get to about that point, right, you start creeping up on it. 3 o'clock starts coming around and you've got enough to smoke and drink and chill out and do everything you want, but then that clock rolls around. And for some reason, you feel lonely. Again, you could be in a house full of people that are all sleeping, or even just in the next room, like chilling out or something, but you still are alone. But good news, like I said, that's not who you are. Because after 3 a.m. comes your ability to start the next day. Your ability to wake up, or even just keep going in that, if you can't sleep, you get the ability for the sun to rise and for your life to start fresh that next day. But that's a choice that you got to make every single day. And I know it gets really hard sometimes. It gets incredibly difficult for you to just pull yourself out of bed sometimes and get going. And it's like that for me too. Everything that I do here, this game that I play, and I look, I'm all happy all the time. There are a lot of dark times in my life. And I'm going to start to try to do more videos where I kind of let you in on those dark times. Maybe have ones where I just kind of mull over how much things appear to suck for me. Because I think we all go through that. Maybe you have had days, and I know you have, where you doubt yourself, where you feel like crap, where you don't feel like you're worth anything. But you are. You absolutely are worth a lot. And what's going on with my hand here? It's like... But I guess my point is today, it comes down to this. If you take away nothing else from this whole thing, and that guy took a chandelier to the face for this whole thing, it is this. The person that you are at 3 a.m. is not the person that you are the rest of your life. 3 a.m. you is vulnerable and raw and open. But the rest of you is the real you. The part of you that overlays, the part of you that gets experience and gains knowledge and gains joy and happiness and sadness and experiences everything in the world. And that's the part of you that you need to focus on. Because like I've said in some of the descriptions in my videos, tomorrow's passionate embrace is waiting for you. And that just means you got to reach out and take it. All right? So if anything else, come here, watch some of my videos, chill out, get a little bit of positive affirmation for your day while you watch me tear people completely apart. But that's what I do here on Orpheus Plays. It's about the message. It's not just about the mayhem. It's about bringing you entertainment and maybe a little bit of a better outlook on life. Because we all need that, don't we? I think we do. All right. Hope you're doing great. Hope that made it a little bit better. We'll see you next time. Bye! You hit me with the rock as I was saying bye. How dare you, madam? So, bye! You did it again, you